All right, more adventures with the PowerLeap K6-III upgrade. This is the next contender for the upgrade to see if it works. It's a, it's not the original case for it. For this motherboard, it's just an, actually, I really hate this case. It's very cheap feeling. I don't know. But it's one of the few AT cases, cases that I still have. Got rid of a lot of stuff, oh man, more than 10 years ago. And, well, for some reason, this is one of the ones that I kept. I don't understand that. The motherboard in here is, I think is very interesting. It's, I believe, from 1997, and it has a few things that you can tell it was a huge transition year. It is pretty nice size AT board. It runs like basically the full length of the case. It is, there it is, an AI5VG-1.00. And you're gonna see some stuff in here that more or less points that it's a Super Socket 7, although it truly is just a Socket 7 motherboard. There is a Socket 7 with a Pentium MMX 233 currently installed. And that is the highest, that is the fastest processor that this board can take. But there are a lot of interesting things that would make it seem like it could take a lot more. One thing you'll notice here, connectors for both the standard AT power supply, which it's using here, and the ATX right there. So you could use either. Another thing that you have the option for, and I don't know if you could use both at the same time. Oh, yeah, here we go. 72 pin SIMs and 168 pin DIMMs. Currently has 256 megs. And during the course of this, I think I'll upgrade it back up to 512. It did have 512 before, and I do believe I was running ECC memory on here too. You see, there was actually a spot for a third DIMM slot, but it didn't decide to put that in. I don't know if too much RAM. I mean, like this thing with 512 megs, I mean, it is accepting 256 meg sticks. So for, 97, it seems pretty advanced. Oh, and the last thing talk about advanced, how about accelerated graphics port. Yeah, you can't really see it, but yes, that is a, that's better. That is an AGP slot. Stuck in the middle of two, of the PCI and the ISA slots. You notice anything wrong about this design though? Now look there's a cap right there. Now, what's wrong with that? These are AGP cards. Yeah. It's using a TNT, the original TNT. And I am going to take this board out to install the processor, and I'm going to definitely need to take the board out to change the memory. But yeah, the card, I had to cut off that hanging PCB part, which is used, for a clip. This was before that was standardized, I guess, and I just find it very interesting. It's like, yes, exactly. That's exactly where you want to put a cap on a board. But I'm going to start taking this apart so I can actually get to the processor easier. Do I really need to take it apart? No, I definitely, like I said, I need to do it for the RAM anyway. And I'll be right back. Well, before I go and tear it all apart, which I was doing, I was taking the cards out and it's like, well, okay, I'll show you first what it has now. This one's called Monster233, actually. That's the name I gave it. And I'll power it up now. Now, this does take a long time to post with a lot of memory. I did have 512 in before, has 256. Missed that Velocity TNT 16 meg, but you know, has to count, and 512, yes, of course, it takes double the amount of time to count all the memory. The fan is not spinning. I just noticed that when I took it apart and powered it on here. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do something about that anyway, so might as well switch out the entire processor. And so you see we have a 120 gigabyte Western Digital drive hooked up to a ATA 133 controller, and we're running Debian 8. And now that was I don't think 9 supports 586 anymore. So, but at the time when this was installed initially, I wanted to see what is the latest, newest OS I can put on here, you know, and still completely 100% updated, everything else, and it would still work. As you can see, well, there is one part that's, you know, 5x86 is not supported, but you know, it doesn't seem to hurt it. Actually, with the K6-III, I don't think I should get that message anymore. And it just boots to the command line. It does have DWM, I believe. I think that's the Windows Manager I have on here. First thing I'll do though is do a listing of the stuff that's on the board and everything, and yes, it does take a little while. You know, obviously it's a 233 running, you know, Linux 8, so what we can do here, I'll show you this part. Oh. Shouldn't really keep it running too long with the fan not spinning. I feel like getting warm. So here we have Pentium MMX. We have a foof bug. Ooh, wait a second. It's running at 250. Is it throttling? Is it going? Oof. You know what? Here we have the TNT. You can pause it if you want to read all the stuff about it. But I think at this point I'm turning it off. I did not know that that was a... Wait a second. What did I say that was? 250. I overclock it. Well, that's kind of bizarre, isn't it? I said that the highest, I thought it was below it. No, this is a 233, but it's running at 250. We have a VP3, Apollo VP3. The chipset, which is cool because yeah, it's right on the cusp there. I think that the next one, the VP4 or whatever, I think that was a Super Socket 7. Don't quote me on that, but okay. So we have all that there. I am turning it off, and we will continue. I can show you the cards it has this way as well, taken out. This is I guess it's a Ciel. Yes. It's a 133, ATA 133 controller card. Much faster than the onboard IDE. So it's just a standard Netgear FA311 fast Ethernet. An ES1370 absolutely not. Audio PCI 9724. Who makes it? Yeah. Oh, and it is an Ensoniq card from 97, period, correct then. And then the TNT card with its nice hack job. Removing that and making sure, you know, there are traces there. Beware of the traces. But yes, as you can see, it still works. One actual nice thing about this case, the tray does just pop out when you take the cards out. So accessing everything here now is a piece of cake. So that's going to be taken out. I am going to see if I can find the memory that I had in there before. I know it takes a little while for it to start up then. Maybe with a faster processor it would help. So I am going to put those parts in. So here it is, the K6-III in a socket 5 converter for a socket 7 motherboard. Basically, I guess this is just used for the multiplier. And well, and then it handles voltages for the CPU, so I don't have to modify anything on the board for voltages. Maybe that might not be a bad idea. I don't know, what's the V-core of? This is the original Pentium in there. That's 2.8 volts. Maybe I should just make sure. See, everything is printed on this motherboard too, which is very nice. So if there is no option for a 2.4. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. Those pins are not supplying power. I don't think that socket 5 adapter has those pins actually there. There's no need for them. I mean, this is what's giving it the power. I found the memory that I was looking for, so replacing these two mismatched 128 meg sticks. And I know I was using these before. It's actually 256 megs each of ECC. So sticking those in there, and will have 400 megahertz K6-III and 512 megs of RAM. So you'll see this buttoned up. I'll power it on. Probably not a good idea, but you know, we'll just do it live, whatever. So there it is, ready to fire it up. First time. Let's go. Now, I know it seems like it does take a long time for video to start displaying. I remember from with the having 512. There it is. Yes. Yeah. And it says 400 megahertz. Holy. All right. You don't like something? Can I do anything anymore? No? Maybe I should have just done one thing at a time. Because I don't know if it's the CPU or memory. And I don't know if there's a BIOS update for this. I just got a little too excited, I guess, and I'll have to figure out why this is not going. Alright. Okay, decided to put the original one back in. The fan's still not spinning. I don't know how long that fan wasn't spinning, so if it didn't die now, it probably is okay. But going to update the BIOS, hopefully, because found this. It is a archive.org for the AI5VG. Looks like it's version 3, and from what I can tell, it's I have 2A on the machine right now, and that's newer. So let's program. Oof, point of no return. And hit F1 to continue. AI5VG-III. So it had G2A before. So let me pop in the other CPU. And oh, it looks like that actually did upgrade. Very, very good. So I'll see if this BIOS version can recognize the CPU. Okay, so that's interesting. I took out the PowerLeap, and that CPU that was the K6-III that I originally wanted to put, this in 2 videos ago, the original upgraded Packard Bell, threw that CPU in here. It's a 380 megahertz K6-III, and this actually started to use it. Somehow it is set to 366. I could have sworn that this board only went up to 233. Is it running at 366? I don't know. I also had to flub the voltages because this is supposed to run at 2.2, But the board with the split voltage on just socket 7, the only options you have go from 3.3 and V-core of 2.1 to 2.5. There are no in between there. So, I mean, if it's running slower than the clock speed that it should be, a little lower voltage should be okay. Threw a huge fan on there that actually spins. And, well, you know what? I'm gonna hook stuff up here and actually let's go. Oh, the keyboard's over there. Yeah. I only have 128 megs right now, just trying to figure that stuff out. So I'm not exactly sure what this is running at. That would be interesting. If it's 366, you know what? That's a nice upgrade right there. Just as long as it doesn't get hot. Well, it's not going to boot up anything because there's no hard drive attached to it. Just want to see if that warning goes away. And yeah, CPU clock 366. That is interesting. Well, I'm gonna put more stuff into it and we'll go from there. Everything's hooked up again. All the cards are in. The 380 megahertz K6-III is in there. No, yeah, no adapter. It's just socket 7. I'm shocked about that. I know that there are tricks that some of these used where if you have a 66 megahertz bus and you put it to a lower multiplier, it actually uses a different multiplier. I need to really figure out what, because I mean, I did not change the multiplier and bus speed from the 233. So there has to be some trickery inside of this that it's not running at 233 but 366. Yeah, there's the PowerLeap, and there's the 233 Pentium MMX, and I also have the 512 megs of RAM in here, and everything else. Turn it on for the first time, plugged in with everything. If it doesn't work, I'm just gonna edit it out. But if anything blows up. Now, with 512 megs of... Ooh, holy crow. That is interesting. Every single time when it was booting up before with that much RAM, it would take forever to actually show anything on the screen, which I thought it was busted or something. Like in the very beginning when I took this out of storage, and it's like I was just impatient, I thought. But you know what? That was strange. That's the first time that's ever with this. You know, as you can see, we're still counting 300, and this is ECC too. So just very, very interesting board. And according to documentation as well, it should only accept up to 386. But yeah, we have 512. cool. And you should get the ATA 133 BIOS. Yep, there we go. With the 120 gig hard drive. 133 K6. And holy, whoa. This is interesting. This is not the path that I wanted to take with this machine, or that I originally was going to take with this machine. But and there is no that unsupported CPU type in there anymore. This is running pretty nicely. Getting hot or anything, or this fan spinning, nice. Everything cool. I don't feel anything. So let's do it again. Actually, I have. So let's see what LSHW shows us. Because this is definitely snappier than it was. Now I do not know how to take that. 400 megahertz? I'm confused. I am confused. Now this is interesting. Now it has the onboard L2 cache, which it sees there. We should actually see L3 for what's on the board, I would imagine. Anyway, that's Alright, so that's showing 360, yeah. That's cool. Now, let's see, I'll get a Windows manager. Funny enough, I did an alias for it instead of, for StartX. The DPI was wrong. Now, putting a TNT, apparently that's not like the best supported video card, especially like old stuff. So it's using, I think, the Nouveau drivers, whatever. But the DPI was odd, so I made an alias, and just for the sake of saying it, like looks like DOS or whatever, the alias is Win, and that there's a StartX with defining different DPI. That's quite nice. Oh, God. Now, before, I know. the load averages before, I mean, this would be, yeah. Now that's quite reasonable. We're only using 148 megs of RAM. We have that much free. I don't have. You know what? I think I might just button this up and test the stability. Well, we can keep that open while we oh, I don't have anything. I don't have the network plugged in. I'll do it. I should probably not do it while the cards are not even screwed in. Be right back. All right, I'm back. So yeah, the network's plugged in. I'm gonna try to do a update, see what happens, see what the load averages go. And I am still confused as to where that 5.5 multiplier comes from, because this board is set. You can see any of that. Okay, oh, there, almost. So it's set to 66, and then on top there, you see the switches 5 and 6 are set to off, which is 1.5 or 3.5, but somehow it's running at 5.5. That's surprising. That really surprised me right there. So, if anybody knows what's happening with that, why that actually is working at 366. Now we're almost up to 1, but I mean, still, it's a 366. I'm not expecting miracles, but it's still faster than 233. Speaking of which, could it have been the BIOS update? You know, I mean, okay, so I found that update. Like I said, archive.org, and that is, formatting is horrible. That's the latest version that they have, is G3. As far as what I've seen here, that is the last thing that you can do. But there's no documentation that I've seen. And even with this documentation, wait a second, is there anything with? See, there's no multiplier. Maximum is 3.5. I mean, that's. So 233 should have been the maximum. Although then again, 384 should have been the maximum on the. I don't know if it says even anything about ECC, but maximum onboard memory. No, I've been proving max memory stuff wrong. Processor speed, yeah. Let's how much stuff do we have? Yeah, okay. 108 megabytes of updates. And as you can, I mean, this is, I mean, there's, oh, with the 686 architecture, I can do a Debian 9. And while this is going, let's just stress this thing. Oh, which is the one I like? NetSurf. It's pretty lightweight. Now, keep in mind, it's also doing updates in the background, so did I actually hit enter? I guess not. It would help if I did that. But, yeah, I mean, I was able to do this with the 233 in there. Of course, it was slower, obviously, but weird thing is, I mean, it is doable. You can browse. I mean, I don't think I've ever tried YouTube on here. No, I did I? We can. Okay, that did not come up very nicely. I did. So there's stuff waiting above 1. We still have a free RAM here. Now it's not gonna play video. Actually, you know what? Right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it just rebooted or something. I mean, CPU is a little undervolted because, like I said, I can only go up to 2.1. I can't do the 2.2 for the chip. Seems to be holding on there, though. I mean, for the most part, you can see that the formatting, you know, it does formatting okay. It's really slow in scrolling, but and yeah, that's not downloading anything right now. Yeah, the comments don't work either, looks like. Or I'm just impatient, or what? I mean, it is doing updates right now, too. So, it's not like it's dedicating itself to actually loading YouTube. Anyway, I think I'm almost done with this video. I think the last part is just buttoning it up, and I mean, it didn't turn out the way I wanted, but I actually am using the CPU that I purchased 7 months ago thereabouts, and finally has a use, I guess. Surprising use. So right back in just a few. So that didn't turn out the way I originally planned, but do have a nice upgrade regardless. 133 megahertz faster with onboard L2 cache, and I did find that the old CPU fan was broken too. So all in all, I mean, that was a good thing to find out. Here we are playing media through a network share. Playing just fine. And before, I mean, I did have a problem with stuff cutting out, but averages for media playing right now is a lot better. So yeah, I believe that's overall success. Now we still beg the question, does that work? I have one last machine that I can test that with. This is a 233, another socket 7, but again, well, supposedly it only goes up to 233 as well. Hesitant to do that with this one though, because I don't need it to do it. It's running Windows 98. It just runs software that for these machines that I need, that the Windows 8 machine or Windows 10 and everything else just doesn't run. Okay, continuing on, such as I created the boot disk for the BIOS upgrade with this, because this is what was downloaded. That does not run in Windows 8 or Windows 10 or whatever, so it needed to be run in a 9X environment. And so this machine is just for that. I don't need it to be really fast. It's not going to be doing anything, so hesitant to do that. Who knows, maybe in a couple months I will find something to use with that. Just like a few months ago I got that 380 that I wanted to use in the Packard Bell, but didn't work there. Well, it finally does have a home there. Oh, and another thing, with that BIOS update, that must have done something that unlocked more multipliers or something. Because where are they? Over here. Because I did try these CPUs with it before. You cannot see that at all. There's absolutely nothing on there. This is this. Okay. Well, I can tell you what that is if I look at the other one. Okay. So I tried it with both of these CPUs. No. This is a 350, a K6-II 350. Oh, maybe. Yeah, okay. Just at a certain angle, certain light. This only showed up as 233. This is a 500 or a 550. This only showed up as 233. Why the new stuff showed up as 3 fingers. Why this showed up as 366. that's a question that the BIOS can answer probably. But as you saw, it has now 512 megs of RAM. Boots up pretty fast. That is an odd thing too. Probably the BIOS update fixed that issue. This has been running. It did all the updates fine. Oh yeah. You like that, don't you? I have username, password, FTP. It's read only. Yeah. So. You saw that. So anyway, I guess that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and take care. One last thing, an addendum to this. It's still looking for updates. We do have now this, trying to look through the camera and do it at the same time. Oh, download. Oh, it went up to 1%. So that's been going on for about 24 hours right now. And in case you're wondering, this is the machine. It's a compact Presario 5000. It's just a Windows XP machine. Just so I can see if there's still updates to it, and if anybody has issues, because as I mentioned in the last video, I still get calls about XP. Still need to run it, I guess. So, not that I say that they should get it online anyway, but that's another story. Now, take care.